Dhammam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami. Buddham sharanam gacchami. Dhammam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami. Buddham sharanam gacchami. Dhammam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami. Buddham sharanam gacchami. Dhammam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami. Buddham sharanam gacchami. Dhammam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami. Buddham sharanam gacchami. Dhammam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami.
Tumba jumden de deje jewa da jumba yandava zobe sanje riba da shamsu demba tewara shewa jigden jemba jebu dewa kalu jurwa lana meba lada menamje tumba sanje jumden de pejawa Jaja doba la jaze lo chodo japsu che wo tenpa chumden de shen sheba cha chumba yangda wa zobe sanje rikpa dan japsu tenpa dewara sheba jikden kenpa kibu nduwa kalu gyurwa lana meba Lada minam je domba sanje chumden de pejawa shaja toba la chazel chodo japsu che wo domba chumden de shen sheba cha chumba yangda wa zobe sanje rikpa dan japsu tenpa Dewara sheba jikden jenpa jebo dewa kalu gyurwa lana meba lada minam je Domba sanje jumden de pejawa shaja doba la shazelo chodo japso che wo sanje chodan soje chonama ala chanju padu tane japso che dagi choshe jebe chonama je dola penche sanje Drupara sho sanje chodan soje chonama la chanju badu tane kyabso che Tagi chushe jebe chonama je dola penche sanje drupara sho sanje chodan soje chonama la Janju bado dane japso che dagi chushe jibe sonama je dola penje sanje drobara sho. Good morning. So last week we stopped at the practice number 9, which is about renunciation and cultivating the aspiration to liberation. So we talked about how the pleasures and qualities of samsara are unstable. They are all characterized by uncertainty, whereas when it comes to the nirvana, which is stable and provides lasting happiness. For that reason, we need to aspire to achieve nirvana. So I think that the point here is that we are not trying to depress ourselves by contemplating on the shortcomings of our existence. It is to help us reduce our attachment to worldly pleasures and worldly qualities. When we are able to do that, then we will be able to loosen our grip over everything. And we know that that grip, the harder we grip on things, we suffer more. So the whole purpose of this reflection is to see the pointlessness, the meaninglessness of our grasping at these samsaric gains or samsaric pleasures and qualities. And from our own experience, we can see many shortcomings. For example, relationships. When we are not in relationships, we are not happy. We want to be in a relationship. But when we are in relationship, we are also not happy. There are other complications. When we are not married, when we are single, there is a problem. We are not happy. When we are married, there is also another problem. When we are childless, another kind of suffering. When we have children, another problem. So from this we can see that as long as we are in samsara, there is no real satisfaction, no real happiness. There is always dissatisfaction. This applies to house as well. When we have a small place, we find so many shortcomings, and we would want to move to a bigger place. But when we move into a bigger place, it comes with its own problems. Let's say if I move from my own place, this place, to a bigger place. At the moment, just a tiny dining table and 2 chairs is good enough. But when I move into a new place, bigger place, that wouldn't serve. I need to get a bigger dining table or dining set. Same with everything, the sofa set, everything. Even though you have more space, but it comes with responsibility. You have more cleaning to do, more areas to what is that word? More area to vacuum, more cobwebs to clean, more windows to wipe. So from all this experience, we know that it is really pointless to hold such a strong, grip on these samsaric qualities. Instead, we should aim for the peace of nirvana. So this is what it's all about. After contemplating on the shortcomings, the flaws of the samsaric existence, then this thought that, oh, I must try to find a way out of this existence. That is actually nirvana. So that's how the generation of renunciation and aspiration for nirvana arises. So now the question is that enough? Generating renunciation or cultivating this aspiration, genuine aspiration to achieve nirvana, is that enough? So Lama Tsongkhapa says that Nyejung Tenya Namda Semge Ji Simba Mena Lame Chanju Ji Punzo Tewe Kyuru Menjurwe Loden namje chanju simjo case. So Lama Tsongkhapa in the three principal aspects of path, Lama Tsongkhapa says that it's not enough. So normally the three principal aspects of path, the renunciation, bodhicitta, and then the wisdom realizing emptiness. These are the core practices of Mahayana practice, the core of the Mahayana practice. So Lamrim is actually about that. Lamrim is an elaboration of the three principal aspects of path. When Lama Tsongkhapa expressed his wish to compose Lamrim Chemo to Manjushri, so Manjushri kind of teased Lama Tsongkhapa by saying that, oh, you are not satisfied with the three principal aspects of the path that I taught you. So Lama Tsongkhapa answered that, oh, this is an elaboration of these three principal aspects of path. So whatever practice we do when it comes to the path to achieve enlightenment, these three things are essential, are must. So first, it says, Lo Chu Sun Drowa La Nye Jung. In order for our practice to become a real Dharma practice, which is free from the stains of the attachment to the samsaric pleasures and qualities, we need to cultivate renunciation. And then, in order for our practices to become a Mahayana practice, we need to cultivate bodhicitta. And then, in order to really eradicate, uproot the causes to samsara and the sufferings, we need to have the wisdom realizing emptiness. So we can see that these three aspects of the path are indispensable in the Mahayana practice. So here, that's what Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, and also what Gyalse Tokme Zangpo is saying, that that's not enough. Without bodhicitta, whatever practice we do out of renunciation does not become the cause to achieve enlightenment. Nyejung tenya namda semjeji simba mena lame chanjubji penzo dewe gyuru minjuros. So it will not become the cause and conditions to achieve enlightenment. And then there is this danger if we don't have the bodhicitta, then we may be attracted to the peace of nirvana and will be distracted from our pursuit of Buddhahood. So for that reason, we need to cultivate bodhicitta. So that's the practice number 10. Tokme tune thala tsewajin manam tungna rangdi chishikcha tejir taye simjin chejejir chanju simji gyase langliyins. So now what is this bodhicitta? It says, when your mothers who have loved you since time without beginning are suffering, what use is your own happiness? If you aim to achieve only nirvana, then this is exactly what you are doing. You are ignoring all that countless sentient beings who have been our mother in the past at one time. And then during that time, they have been kind. They have taken care of us. So in that sense, it is considered very selfish and ungrateful to strive to achieve nirvana for oneself, trying to find escape only for oneself, and neglecting and ignoring and abandoning all the sentient beings. So it says, therefore, to free limitless living beings, develop the altruistic attitude. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So just to refresh, we have already covered this in detail, how to develop bodhicitta. But just to refresh, so bodhicitta, in order to cultivate bodhicitta, we need to have this special resolve that I will take on my shoulder the responsibility to liberate all sentient beings and provide them the lasting happiness. So this is this sense of responsibility. That is what is called the special resolve. In order for this special resolve to arise, we need to first develop compassion to all sentient beings. So compassion is the root of bodhicitta. Without compassion, there is no bodhicitta. Without compassion, there is no Mahayana practice. So it all depends on compassion. I think I've already told this story about the importance of having compassion. So this is the story about a meditator who has meditated in the cave for years. So obviously that person did retreat of some highest yoga daily practice. So sometimes you have to do this, what is called a long retreat, where it takes you to, I think where you're required to do like at least 3 years. So this person has been doing all this tantric retreat, mainly involves mainly doing the sadhana and then reciting the mantras. So when he died, he was born as a spirit and started harassing people. He started to possess people. And one time he was brought to a lama. So when he is in possession, when he is in trance, so the lama, in order to subdue that spirit, lama generated himself into Yamantaka. And that spirit laughed at the lama and said, I see, you are trying to drive me away by generating yourself into Yamantaka. And he said, that will not do any harm to me. I have done that retreat more than you have done. And then Lama transformed, self-generated into Heruka. No, Hayagiva. Tandin we call Hayagiva. And again he said, yeah, now you are trying Hayagiva. He said, it will not work on me. And then Lama felt so compassionate towards that person. The Lama realized that this person has done so much retreat, so much mantra recitation, but still born as spirits and causing harm. So instead of trying to drive him, Lama really felt sorry for the person. And when that happens, this spirit noticed And he says that that's what I lacked. I did years of retreat, but I failed to do meditation on compassion. I lack that, and you have that quality. So I will not bother you anymore, and I will leave. Saying that, he left the person who is being possessed, and since then never heard of that spirit. So this shows the importance of cultivating compassion. Without compassion, no matter how many mantras and how many years of retreat you have done of our highest yoga tantra deity, it is useless. You will end up like that retreater. You will be born in spirits with some degree of power because of your recitation, because of your tantric practice, deity yoga practice. But because it is not moistened with compassion, so whatever the practice one does remains very dry. There is not even the slightest moisture of compassion. So there's not even a scent of Mahayana practice. So that's why it is really, really important to cultivate compassion. And another way to look at it is that in order to achieve enlightenment, we need to fulfill the accumulation of the two merits, the merit of wisdom and merit of method. Sonam kitso, ishi kitso. So the method aspect, in order for your practice to become, or let's put it this way, in order to become our merit to become the method aspects, it has to be motivated by bodhicitta. And bodhicitta without compassion, there is no bodhicitta. So from that point of view, we can see that how important it is, how important compassion plays a role, critical role in achieving the two accumulations, two merits. In Sutra it says, Sanje ji ngobang tobaran doba namji chu mangbula labar me jawo, chu chigla labar chawo, chi kangshena nyingji chenpo wos. So it says in this sutra, in this particular sutra, it says that those who wish to achieve enlightenment, it says you don't need to practice so many variety of practices. It says you just need to practice one thing, which is compassion, the great compassion. It is so true. When we are able to develop great compassion, then all the other things will naturally follow. With compassion, with great compassion, this special resolve will arise. Because you see, you perceive how much other sentient beings are suffering, and you wanted to do something, you wanted to help them, you wanted to liberate them from that ocean of suffering. And for that you realize that only way to really help them is by attaining Buddhahood. So that's how one will push into practicing the Bodhisattva paths. That's when one will pursue the path of Bodhisattvas. So for that reason, when Chandrakirti composed that what is called entering the middle path, which His Holiness always cites as the most important text when it comes to the topic of emptiness. So Chandrakirti, at the homage, instead of making homage to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Chandrakirti made homage to great compassion, on the basis that compassion plays a very important role at the beginning, at the medium, at the middle, and also at the end. So what really drives us to achieve enlightenment? What really drives us to work for sentient beings is the compassion. So at the beginning, compassion is important. Without compassion, no way we can engage in any of the Mahayana practices. And then middle, when we are on the paths, when we are practicing, after we have cultivated bodhicitta, and then when we are really engaging in the six perfections, there are so many challenges. And without compassion, one will be unable to cope with the challenges. But with compassion, it gives us, or give the practitioner, the courage and the encouragement to deal with any kinds of challenges. So for that reason, compassion is important in the middle. And then when we achieve Buddhahood, if we lack compassion, then even though we have all the abilities to really benefit sentient beings, we won't do. Why Buddha are endlessly working for sentient beings is because of their great compassion. So even at the end, compassion is important. So for that reason, Chandrakirti made homage to great compassion. So now the question is, how do we cultivate compassion? So we know about the two methods, two approach to cultivating bodhicitta. The one which is known as the 7 cause and effect, the instructions by Maitreya to Asanga, and then we have this other instruction, other approach, equalizing and exchanging oneself with others by Manjushri to Nagarjuna, and then down to Shantideva. So there are two approaches. So in one approach, we first try to recognize all sentient beings as our mother, being our mother at one time. And then we reflect on the kindness. So, and on the other hand, we reflect on the kindness of others, and we also reflect on the common humanity, how similar we are in terms of wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. So both approach converge or meet at this is all method to develop this sense of endearment. So sense of endearment in this term is described as a love affectionate love that a mother would have for her single child. When a mother has only one child, imagine how much love and affection that mother would have for that single child. So this is, in this case, so we are trying to develop that kind of endearment, that kind of affection to all sentient beings. So when we are able to develop that sense of endearment, then compassion will arise. Then with compassion, special resolve will arise. With special resolve, of course, bodhicitta. So now how? So here the recognizing all beings. So one is actually, as we mentioned, about recognizing sentient beings being our mother at one time, and then when they were mother, they have been kind. So if you find difficulty using mother as a kind person, then you can take anybody who is very kind, who has been your, what you call, main figure in your life, who you believe as a very kind person, who nurture you. So imagine that person, and then all sentient beings have been that person, that kind of person at one time. We don't remember. And our not remembering is not a reason that they have not done, because we don't even remember what we did last week. We don't even remember what we ate for lunch yesterday. We really have to, oh, what did I eat for lunch yesterday? Sometimes we don't even remember that. So that's not a reason. So that's one way to go about developing this sense of endearment. Another way is about common humanity. So first of all, we have to equalize. That's why I say equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. So in order to make this exchange, first we need to level our views. We have this discriminatory feelings to different people. So we have created our discrete characterizations. These are my friends, these are strangers, these are enemies or those whom I don't get along. So first we need to level that what do you call that discrimination. So that one we do by reflecting how certain and how permanent these are, what we label as friends and enemies. There is no certainty that a person will remain our enemy or friend forever. A friend in the morning can be our worst enemy in the evening. Our arch enemy in the morning can be our best friends in the evening. So there is no definite thing about friends or enemies. And even strangers, we normally ignore them as strangers, but they can become a very significant person in our life. So when we think this way, we will be able to kind of level these bumps, that uneven feeling towards every sentient beings. And then we also think from our side, there is no reason to discriminate between two different people, because whether enemy or friends, they have been our mothers in the past, they have been a significant person in our lives in the past, and when they were at that time, they have done their best. They have made so many sacrifices. So there is no reason to discriminate one over another. So in terms of kindness that we have received from them are same. And then from their own side is also same. Whether it's our enemy or friends, both want happiness. Just like us, they want happiness. They don't want to experience suffering. So it is same. So there is no reason to really discriminate, really to help one and not to help other, because from their own sides, they all want the same thing. They all do not want the same, they, from their own side, they all want happiness. Nobody wants to experience suffering and pain. So when we think this again and again and again, then we will be able to level our feelings to all sentient beings. We will be able to look at them in an equal way, in the same way. With that, what happens is then we need to engage in the practice of exchanging oneself with others. So that is the practice number 11. Tunye malu taktin dole chung zobe sanje shenben semne chung tejir takti shenke tunye ta yanda jawa kese lalins. All sufferings come from the wish for your own happiness. Perfect Buddhas are born from the thought to help others. Therefore, exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So here says that once we have cultivated bodhicitta, we need to exchange our happiness for the suffering of others. Why do we need to do that? Because all sufferings come from the wish for our own happiness, because we also want happiness. We also do not want to experience sufferings. If that is the case, then we should engage in the path and practices that ensures happiness. So in this case, the one thing that gives rise to sufferings, all our sufferings, is self-cherishing attitude, wishing good things for ourselves alone, prioritizing our happiness over others. So that has been the source of all our problems, has been the root of all our unhappiness. But we are so ignorant that we don't realize that, because we only see the short-term benefits. We don't see the long-term benefits. In the short term, it may help, but long-term, it does not. For example, let me give you an example. At the moment in India, COVID-19 surge has been devastating the whole nation, and the daily death tolls are so high. And I think yesterday or day before yesterday, the number of cases stood at 400,000 a day. That's like unimaginable. But in such situations, if we only pray for ourselves, oh, may I be free, may I not get the COVID, then as long as there are people who are infected, you still are in the risk. You are still vulnerable. Your problem is not over. Even though you may be free from COVID today, but you may get it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. There is no guarantee. You are not risk-free. But instead, if we pray that all that COVID be, disappear, everybody be cured of this, everybody be free from this COVID-19, then when everybody is free, you are also free. So you see, we only think of ourselves. We don't really, we all see our vision or our goal is so narrowed. We cannot see the long benefits, the lasting benefits, long-term benefits. So because of that, we suffered. Because of that, we are still in samsara. And then, on the other hand, the perfect Buddhas are born from the thought to help others. So if we want happiness, since we are seeking happiness, it says that source of happiness, all happiness, is caring for others, is the thought to help others. This famous quote, which His Holiness always cites, "Tātī shengi tuñeta yanda chewa maje na sanje nidu medrubshin korwa naya tewa mes." So if we fail to do the exchange, exchanging ourselves with others or for others, it says that we will not achieve enlightenment. That we know. In order to achieve enlightenment, we need to destroy this self-cherishing attitude. We need to counter this self-cherishing attitude. Self-cherishing attitude is the one that is actually hindering our practices. In order to achieve enlightenment, we need to engage in the practices of the six perfections. For example, the first one, generosity, the practice of giving. So when self-cherishing is there, we won't be able to engage in the practice of giving. When we see a destitute person, one side of us wanting to help, but then self-cherishing attitude always intervenes, always comes in and say that, then what is the word? What will happen to you? Always, you need that for this and this. If you want to give $10, self-cherishing attitude, you need this for this and this and this, that. Then how about you? I need to do this. I mentioned earlier, when you want to volunteer for a charity, like your off days, like Sundays, if they need volunteers, and if you want to go, if you want to volunteer there and help that organization, and always our self-cherishing attitude arises. I have to do this. I have to go there. I have to watch this. I have to run this errand and that errand. So I cannot. So from all these from these examples, we can tell that self-cherishing attitude causes or becomes the hindrance, obstructs our practice. And then same with patience, same with ethical discipline. Always self-cherishing attitude is the one that always gets in between. So it says that so there's no way we can achieve enlightenment. Not only that, even when we are in samsara, There is no happiness while in samsara. If if the case is such that we may not achieve enlightenment, but we will be happy in this samsara, then it's okay. People can say, okay, that's not too bad. I can be happy in this existence, so I don't really need to achieve enlightenment. But it says that as long as you have this self-cherishing attitude, it says that not only it will prevent us from achieving enlightenment, it will also prevent us from having a happy life. So that's very true, isn't it? Who amongst us have witnessed a very egoistic person liked by everyone? No, there is no such thing. While at workplace, while at any institution, society, family, if the person is so selfish and so egocentric, nobody likes that person. And nowhere you go, you will be met with dislike. Whether they display their dislike to the person or not, but there is that atmosphere. Wherever you go there, you feel the atmosphere that people don't like you. On the other hand, if you are always concerned about others, if you are always willing to put others' welfare over oneself, that person will be well liked by everybody. Wherever you are, we know of people who are always working for the people. And those people are remembered. When they die, people will be really, really sad. And they wish this had not happened. On the other hand, if a selfish and egoistic person dies, people will be more like, okay, it's like they rejoice. Even though it is not good to rejoice somebody's loss. But because of the person's personality, because of his attitude, always being selfish and self-cherishing, nobody misses that person. And everybody will release a sigh of relief when that person is gone. So do we want to be in that category where people will release a sigh of relief when we are gone? No, we want to be remembered fondly. If we want so, then we should do this. So when we talk about exchanging oneself with others, what are we talking about? Of course, most of you understand it, but if there are any newcomers who are new to this concept, it is not about exchanging what you call in a literal, it's not a literal sense. It is basically what it is saying is that until now we have put we have given priority to our own things. We have always treasured ourselves. But from now on, you're saying that instead of ignoring others, we will now cherish others. And instead of cherishing ourselves, from now on, we will cherish others. We will ignore ourselves. So we will always put others before us. So when I was in school, the motto of the school, TCV school, is called Others Before Self. It's such a nice motto, but I wonder whether students really understood that. So here one of the Kadamba masters says, Chisi rangla tar matong shing, matong ringla lama la sobe jang pen me to, rangla tar tongna tamje la pen dok so yongs. That means as long as we fail to see the faults of this self-cherishing attitude, no matter how great one's teacher is, that teacher won't be able to help us. Even Buddha appears before us. As long as we don't see the faults of this self-cherishing attitude, we won't be able to progress. So, because of all that reason, we need to exchange ourselves. We need to engage in the practice of exchanging ourselves with others. Remember in Shantideva's, what was that one? Junjuku. Jigden tawa chinyi ba tigun, yeah, the same. Mangdo sheda chishi gu, toba rangi tuanje da, chiba rangi tuanje ba, tini kini kyabarade. I like this very much, this phrase. Basically, it's saying that we don't have to go into detail about the importance or the benefit of cherishing others. We don't need to dwell so much on the flaw or the faults or disadvantages of the self-cherishing attitude. He says, just look at the Buddha, the difference between Buddha and ourselves. One time Buddha was like us, ordinary. But now Buddha has become the object of our refuge. It is all because that Buddha saw the faults of self-cherishing attitude, and then he rectified that. Instead of cherishing himself, Buddha put others before him, and that's why he is up there in our refuge field, in our merit field, and we are still lurking in the samsara, still trapped in samsara. Unless and until we really take this practice seriously, we will be cycling in this samsara forever. So therefore, exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So from here onwards, it is about transforming. Here it is called transforming. Where is my note here? So the meditating on the exchanging oneself with other is other comes under the heading of the practice during the meditation state. So now, post-meditation, when you are out of the meditation, how can we take into various situations into path? So the first one is transforming loss into the path. Suda döjen wangi dagi nor tamje chogam chogdun junayang luda longju tuzum kyawanam telanguwa kese lagleyins. So this is when we experience loss. How do we take that into path? Let me look for my note. Here you are. So this is how to train in the practice of, after training in the practice of exchanging self for others, now we go on to discuss how to take various situations, how to transform various challenging situations into path. Even if someone out of strong desire steals all your wealth or has it stolen, dedicate to him your body, possessions, and your virtue, past, present, and the future. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So normally there's this saying, Kenyen kewe kumains. When we met with undesirable situations, or when misfortune befalls, it says that such situations are what you call exhortation for us to practice virtue. So we should take this as a signal for us to practice. So there is a basis for that, because undesirable experiences arises from negative actions, the negative karma that we have created in the past. So when we experience such things, that is actually telling us that we have accumulated negative karma in the past, and that's why we are experiencing this misfortune. So instead of getting angry or upset, what we should do is, okay, in a way this is good. So this is a signal, this is a kind of a caution or kind of a warning that I should really engage in the practice of purification. So I may have created many more, and maybe many more undesirable incidences are waiting to come by. So I better engage in the practice of purification so that I don't have to experience any more undesirable experiences. That's one way to look at it. Another way is, oh, okay, I'm now undergoing this experience. So that means that I am exhausting whatever negative karma I have created in the past. So it's a good way. It is now I'm exhausting. So no more negative karma to experience this particular experience. So that's how we are supposed to look at it as a bodhisattva. If we really want to take these adverse situations into the path, we should and we must, because remember I have mentioned this before, that because we are in samsara, all these undesirable experiences are part and parcel of our existence. We will be undergoing one way or another all kinds of suffering, undesirable experiences, because we have created countless negative karma to give rise to these undesirable experiences. So since this is going to happen, we better find a mechanism, or we better find a way to cope with. So that's one way to cope. For ordinary people, if someone steals our wealth, or if that person does not directly or personally steals it, but he has made arrangements for others to do so, the normal person's reaction is to really, get back to that person. We will be so angry, and then we will try to find a way to get even with that person. But as a Bodhisattva, as a Mahayana practitioner, especially as a person who has taken the Bodhisattva vows, instead of getting angry at that person, what we are supposed to do, what we should do, is dedicate to him whatever is his body or possessions. Of course, at this stage, we cannot really part with our body. But possessions, whatever, okay, let them have it. And not only that, dedicate all your merits for that person. Remember, Tomar Sangsin Chimbe Simjena Kordu Dune Chueki Tsemji Shos. So that's the Bodhisattva's approach. They first benefit other sentient beings through material gains, material gifts or material possessions, and then slowly they will give Dharma. That's the skillful way to lead others to Dharma. So let me tell you a story about this retreater. So this is a true story. So he is known to have this clairvoyance. So this Geshe is from a Ganden monastery, and he went to Bhutan, the forests of Bhutan, and did many years of retreat. So first many years, I think people didn't know about him, so there was no much hindrance. But later people came to know about him and then about his clairvoyance. So people started to come to see him with all kinds of requests to do this divination, to do this checking and that. So anyway, what happens was he always gives a window during his lunch break. So within that period, if people want to see him, you can go and see him. So later years, so there will be a long queue of people wanting to see him. And of course, being Bhutanese people, they are very generous when it comes to making offerings to Lama. So they brought with them money, because Geshe-la lives in the jungle, so they even brought the the stove, the kerosene stove, and then all kinds of supply, food supply. And somehow it was known that people make lots of money offerings. And one time, a group of robbers appeared at Geshe-la's cave. So when Geshe-la found that there are robbers here, so he told the robbers, he says that no need to kill me. You won't get anything by killing me. You have come for money. I will go out. You search my cave and take whatever you find. My money, everything, whatever I have is in this cave. So you all go ahead and search the place. So they went in, they searched every corner, and they found, I think, quite a bit of money, and then they went back. So Geshe-la went in, and Geshe-la found that there was one spot where he hid the money. It was untouched. The robbers didn't find. So he came out of the cave and shouted after the robbers, "Hey, wait. You haven't found this one. Come, get it." So they came back and took that. And since then, never heard of them. They never went back. So that's the practice of Bodhisattva. Instead of getting angry and being, all worked up, and calls after them to say that, hey, you haven't found this one, come and get it. That's what Bodhisattva practice is all about. So if we are able to do that, how comforting and how peaceful it would be. Imagine this happening to you and how much anger we will be in. But if we are able to really follow these instructions, how wonderful. And even the robbers, something happened to them. They didn't come back. If Geshe-la hadn't done this, the second gesture, they might have come back. But because of that, I think they were so taken aback. Who else would shout after them to say that you haven't found this? Come and get, there some more money. We would be so relieved. Oh, I'm so relieved they haven't found this one. At least I have this money. But no, that means there's no real attachment. Since they are in need, okay, come and enjoy. That's not important to me. It's important to you. As long as it helps you, have it. So, will we be able to do that? First thing, we will be really calling the police, isn't it? And trying to give the description, hoping and trying our best to catch the robber and make sure that he suffers. Make sure that he gets the maximum punishment in the name of justice. But in reality, when this happens, is it really about justice? When we say justice, what are we talking about? This life justice? Or we're talking about past life justice? We are experiencing, if we really subscribe to this, the law of karma, nothing happens without cause. We must have done that in the past. We must have done the same thing to another person in the past. That's why we are experiencing it now. So what justice are we talking about? So that's food for thought. This is 타기 문제 심진라 딘다와이 너바체 대베 심진 세제베 달라 너반 디중릭. So this is what Shantideva says. Whatever pain and suffering, whatever seemingly unjust happening to us, is all, it's not really unjust, it's fair. We have created the cause. We have done that to others, and now we are reaping the result. So no complaint. So Bodhisattva would think that way. So since we are trying to be Bodhisattva, since we are pursuing the path of Bodhisattva, we should at least make prayers to be able to do that. If we are able to do that, really good. If not, at least make prayers. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So we start with dedication, we start with prayers, and then hopefully we will be able to do in the future. Okay, so we will stop here and then we will continue in our next class. Thank you very much. Let's dedicate our merits. Tagi chini sabe gyawa de tendang jowa kunla kangben da kebara chuzun losan tagbai tembe nyingbu ringdo seje sho jambe pawe chedara kemba da kundu sangbu tenyang tejen Teda kungi jesu talo je gyawa deda tamje rabdo ngo tuzun shekwe gyawa tamje je ngowa kangla chodo ngaba de tagi kewe tsawa digun ya Zangpo choje rabdo ngo waragi. Thank you.